Are we on? Oh, enough of that. Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. G'day, groomers. Yes, it's my first live broadcast. I don't even know if anyone's watching this, but hey, I haven't even worked out if there was anyone watching this, whether I could tell if anyone is watching this, if that makes sense. So a warm welcome to each and every one of you to this first ever Running Guru live broadcast. And already I need a sip of my tea. So today I'm quite pumped up because today I completed my first race since the Boston and London marathons, and it was the Simply Health Birmingham 10K. Yes, there's the t-shirt. Really nice shirt. And the medal, I'm super impressed with the medal. There's the medal. So, yeah, ooh, can you see that? Very nice it was too. And I came in a very excellent time for me. I'm really pleased with that. I think it was 41 minutes, 30 seconds. At the field of around 10,000, I came in 170th, somewhere around there. But hey, it was great. And apparently it was live on Channel 5. So if you were watching Channel 5 UK, yes, that was great. So yes, it's not about me, though, this particular show. It's about our guest. And we're going to talk, I mentioned a number of topics. We're going to talk about sub-3 marathons and the Boston Marathon 2018, which was quite an epic. And can you see this? As I say, this was my little reward to myself, a Run Boston Nike hat. Not one of the official ones, it's an unofficial one, but I liked it so much that I bought it for myself. Yes, there you go. I can buy things for myself. It's quite amazing. And so I'm pretty pumped after today's 10K race. But without further ado, I'll give a bit of a drum roll build up. So our guest today, he's ran, oh, I've already said it's a he. Oh my God, I always let it slip. Anyway, this person's ran a sub-3 hour marathon. And yes, is 2018 Boston Marathon finisher. Like myself, it was our first Boston. And we met at a bar afterwards and had our celebratory beer. Yeah, I'll talk more about this later as we go into the detail. But without further ado, let me introduce to you none other than Sunil. Welcome, Sunil. Hello.
Thank you very much for having you, Mr. Reluctant Guru. It's an honor to be on your show.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you. It's yeah, it's great to have you on. I noticed a bit of similarity in terms of what you're wearing.
Yes, I only follow the most important fashion icons out there, and you have to be up there. So I'm sorry if I'm copying that.
And yes, I am very impressed. And yes, your Boston Marathon medal. Shall I wave mine as well? Yes, there's my Boston Marathon medal too. So, do you want to give us some? Obviously, we've prepared this, haven't we? In a sort of way, but. Obviously, people haven't seen you, heard of you, or anything like that. And I've got to stress, unlike a lot of people have guests, you don't have a book to promote, and you don't have a YouTube channel, and you're not really into social media, are you? You just run. Is that right?
Indeed, I do. A background about me: I am a full-time general practitioner in the NHS. So, as you can understand,
is there a doctor in the house?
There is indeed.
Hey.
And, even on a weekend, I'm on call as well, but not right now. But no, as an NHS doctor, I believe it's the responsibility of me and my colleagues to promote a healthy lifestyle. With our stressful jobs, it's very easy at the end of the day to open up a bottle of wine or have a bottle of beer. But me, I prefer to go out and run. And running is my form of de-stressing. And that's how it was when I first started back in 2003. I was happy just not running any races. I was happy to just go and do a few sessions 2-3 times a week within myself, and I was content. Excellent. But then in 2005, a fellow GP colleague of mine said, well, I'm training for the Great North Run. Why don't you come with me and just see what happens? And I signed up for the Stevenage Half Marathon in 2008. That was my first ever half marathon. And I surprised myself by running about 1:44, 1:45 my first half.
Wow, that's fast. That's fast.
then I thought the next step was obviously to sign up for one marathon, and just one marathon alone. Marathon running runs in my family. Both my parents have done London in the past. So I thought it was only right that I give it a go. And my first marathon was in Belfast, 2009.
Right.
I'm not a member of a running group. I don't subscribe to any internet company, so I just did it on my own back. Got old, very old books from the library on how to run marathons. They were very dusty, these copies of books that I got. And I followed the training regimes, but I didn't really incorporate hill training sessions or tempo sessions. I just went out and ran. And the marathon, if you do not prepare for it, it will find you out. I ran what was a respectable time, 4 hours 1. I thought that was a respectable
the 4:01 time.
Yes, 4:01. 4:01. But, you know, at the end of the race, I swore I'm never doing this again. I've achieved my goal, and that's it.
So you went for, so similar to me, you went for the, I'm going to do one marathon and get it done, get it out of the way. Did you take a GoPro with you to prove that you'd done it?
No. GoPros weren't around in 2009.
So, yeah, sorry about that, Sunil. I was just throwing in a curveball there. I forgot the technology. But you mentioned you started in 2003. God, that sounds like in the dark ages compared to a lot of people on there. 2003. That's what, 15 years ago.
Yes, it was. That was when I got married.
Wow.
I started running to get away from the house. So there is a correlation between the two.
Okay. I get the impression there. But so that Belfast Mass, so when you finished Belfast, you said you'd never do it again. That was 2008.
No, April 2009.
April 2009. So that was 9 years ago.
Yes.
So you then stopped, is that right? And what did you then do?
Oh, no. Within 1 week, I started to think, I'm just 1 minute over that 4 hours 1. I haven't really shown the marathon what I can really do. Yeah. So I put in my thinking, went online, and I signed up for Edinburgh 2010. So I had a year to get ready for it.
Okay. And what happened next?
Edinburgh, I still followed the same training regimes. I wasn't incorporating tempo sessions or hill sessions. And unfortunately in Edinburgh, they had the hottest weather for many a year. It was 28 to 29 degrees.
Wow.
Pure sun. One of the hottest days.
London.
Yeah, one of the hottest days Edinburgh had ever had. But I respected the weather conditions. When I saw that heat, I held back. I ran the first half well within myself, and I ran 3:51.
Wow.
Second half, I was 20 minutes quicker. The second half because I'd paced it that well.
Right. So obviously you learned a lot in that. So it's about the pacing. But you're sub 3. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of people are keen. But you mentioned that you didn't do tempo, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. For my first one, obviously, I didn't do any of that either, and I started doing it. But do you believe it's really essential to do these types of? If you want to run a sub 4, obviously you ran a sub 4. I ran a sub 4, not doing any tempos, not doing any of that. Do you think it's essential, unless you're going for a sub 3? Do you think it's essential for marathon running to do tempo runs, hill sprints, and all that type of stuff?
100%, without.
You think so? Yeah.
You have to learn at that controlled discomfort pace. So when you then have your marathon pace, well, actually you've conditioned your body for dealing with that. So unfortunately, there are no easy ways with dealing with a marathon. You have to put in those sessions. And that's when 2011, when I signed up for the London Marathon, I went to a course arranged by the British Heart Foundation by a company called Full Potential. Full Potential are an online running resource which you can subscribe to. And we actually went for a running session together, and they introduced the concept of threshold running. I'd never come across that before, but we did tracks. And it was a fantastic eye-opener to how I really should be training.
Yeah. Okay,
and I managed to knock half an hour off my time down to 3:21 just by incorporating threshold training and tempo sessions, hill sessions, went down to 3:21.
That is very impressive, very impressive. And obviously, but to take it from there, a lot of people talk about taking minutes off as you're getting into those high levels. It's a lot more training, a lot more effort.
Yes.
And so you then stepped it up a bit. Is that right?
Yep. The next step was I had always been a big fish in a little pool. as in I was the quickest runner with the bunch of runners I run with.
Yeah.
But in the lead up to the Boston qualifying time and the sub-3, I joined up with the quickest bunch of runners in Luton, and I am the slowest in our crew. Our quickest guy is 2:18 for the marathon. And we've had 2 guys debut this year at 2:40 and 2:48 respectively. So I am at the back of this group, and it is running as the slowest guy in that group, which has now propelled me to the times I'm doing now.
Right, right. So in terms of, it sounds like then that if you're in a group can help you. Is that right, Sunil?
Yeah. And even I mean, simple things like our 2:18 guy, Darren Deed, he keeps moaning at us if we do the Sunday long runs too quick. He keeps telling us Sundays are about enjoying the moment. Forget about the Garmin, forget about the Strava segments. Just get out there, spend time on your legs. Because when you hit that hurt moment in the marathon, your body will have been conditioned because you've gone and done your 15, 18 miles out on a Sunday.
Sorry, Sunil, what's Strava? Strava segments. OMG. Anyone listening to this want to leave some comments about Strava? So, by the way, I didn't prep Sunil about not looking at your watch forever, and I did do a vlog a while back about ignore your tech. Don't do any of this. Yeah. And I'll go into the detail more about Boston, but it sounds like, Sunil, that obviously you're with a good group now.
Yes, I am. I'm in a really good place at the moment. Absolutely.
So you might be the slowest of the group, but you're the slowest of a very fast group. I mean, you mentioned the 2:20 guys. So if you're running with these people, these are super athletes, yeah?
Yes, they are, without a doubt.
Excellent, excellent. So that's how you got started.
And all of them are guys like you and me. They've all got full-time jobs, families, kids. They've all got, they're not elite athletes like Mo Farah, Galen Rupp. They're like you and me. They've got busy lives to lead. But they showed that if you incorporate the training, you can achieve these times. It can be done.
Yeah. So there's no magic formula. It's just about putting in the effort, time, and work. And but yeah. So tell me your first sub-3. Come on, Sunil. Tell me about your first sub-3, because many people, if those who are maybe new to the channel, the sub-3 marathon is seen as like I mean, Sunil touched on that a lot of us have day jobs. We have this or that. It's seen as like a pinnacle in someone's running career. If you ran a sub-3 marathon, you're seen as a super top athlete, and it's a great achievement. So well done, Sunil, on your sub-3. So which one was it, and when did it happen?
Yeah, this happened in October 2017 in the wonderful city of Cologne, Germany.
Cologne, Germany. Yes. Oh, I do love Germany.
Yes.
So
Cologne. It was a lovely course. Absolutely pancake flat, a good spread of the field. And to tell you the truth, everything just clicked that day. I did not look at my Garmin once because I started ahead of the 3-hour pace setter because I felt in a good mood, in a good place. And I didn't look back because the 3-hour pacer never caught up with me. So I knew I was ahead of the game the whole way, provided he had paced it properly. Obviously, you shouldn't swear by what pacers do because they are variable in quality. But I just ran an absolutely beautifully paced race. I think there was only a 15-second difference between the first and second halves for that race.
Wow, so that's consistent splits all the way through.
Absolutely.
And you weren't looking at your Garmin, you were just running on how you felt, and you felt good. Did you ever feel at some point that pacer was chasing you down?
Yes, I remember at about the 20-mile mark, there was a German rock band playing David Bowie's Heroes.
And we can be heroes.
Yeah, and I got quite emotional. Yeah, and a little tear came to my eye. It has a lot of meaning to a lot of people. But it was at that time where I could hear the 3-hour pacer shout to me, "You're slowing up, mate. Get on with it." He said it in German, and obviously my German is fairly good, so I could understand what he was saying. It went along the lines, "Laufen Sie schnell, laufen Sie schnell." So
get your ass in gear.
Absolutely.
Laufen Sie schnell. That sounds really good. I'm very impressed, Sunil.
So but that was at the 20-mile mark. Didn't look back after that. Head down, and I achieved it 2:58.44.
Way! Sub-3. Woo, 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 woo. That is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And of course, from that, you then qualified for
although, so actually, strictly speaking, I qualified for Boston the year prior. I ran 3:02 in Florence. That was my BQ technically. But
You
the
can tell we haven't
250,
rehearsed this, can you?
no, but the
Yes, yeah,
258, the 258 in Cologne helped me to go up an extra wave,
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
within the wave chorale system at Boston, which you'll obviously explain.
Yeah, yeah, which leads us neatly on to. I mean, that is a brilliant story there, Sunil. I mean, a lot can be taken from that. Is that obviously you have a very busy job. You know, as we know in the UK with the NHS and with doctors, extremely busy professional life, and obviously you have a young family as well. And you're going out there and smashing out a sub-3 marathon, qualifying for Boston. It's absolutely incredible, and I am very, very impressed. And that's why I wanted you on as the first guest. And but yeah, so. If you take off your sunglasses or whatever, people might recognize you from one of my vlogs. When I was doing the Virgin vlog on my travel out to Boston, where I bumped into Sunil at the waiting area. We were actually on the same flight over to Boston, which was a bit surreal because we had met previously, I think, at the Reading Half Marathon and sort of kept in touch on social media. And you can see me cough still hasn't cleared, but hold on one moment. So it was a great pleasure to meet you at Heathrow Airport, and obviously we went over to Boston. So I think first bit we'd like to discuss is the Boston Marathon Expo. What did you think about that? The glasses are off. Hey!
Yeah. At the Boston Marathon Expo, all I can tell your viewers is make sure you have plenty of limit left on your credit card. You cannot leave that place without buying anything.
I think Sunil bought everything. What did you buy? Come on, tell us what you bought. You don't have to show it all, but you can, if you have got them there, show them to us. Well, what did you buy?
The pride of place was the Boston Marathon celebration jacket.
Yeah. Love that. So it's got the obviously the unicorn emblem and the year that you've done it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of controversy on Twitter when this jacket was released because everybody wants it to be the blue and yellow colours of the Boston Athletic Organization. People were not keen on this because it resembled the Cleveland Browns, American football team. So people were up arms about this top. But you know what? It's a rite of passage to get this jacket and to turn up at a park run in England or the Vitality 10K. You turn up in this jacket, it does get a bit of respect amongst your fellow runners.
You've been showing it off, have you? I haven't even worn mine yet in public.
I ran the Flitwick 10K last week and I wore it there.
Right. I mean, I've seen well in today's race there was some Boston qualifiers there with their gear on. Do you feel like it's a bit of a you become a bit of a target then? Oh, I want to beat that Boston qualifying man. You know, if he's fast, I'm going to beat him.
Absolutely, it is. And the other tradition which your viewers must be aware of, it's actually bad luck to wear this jacket before the race. It's called a celebration jacket for a reason. It's meant to be worn after the race. But at the expo, you will see people as soon as they're buying it, take out the wrap and they're wearing it around the expo. But really, keep it for after the race.
Wow! So
there is something magical about opening it up from the wrapper. As your first item you get after your race. Really, it is.
Well, for me, obviously, you know, I know you've got a few tips about the expo and buying some gear. I refrained from buying anything at that expo, apart from some training shoes, which I might quickly scoot off while you're chatting. Some Boston Marathon, because I run in Saucony training shoes, and I needed a new pair of Kinvaras. And bizarrely enough, Saucony released the Dunkin' Donuts Saucony Kinvaras. So it was a given that I would buy those. So I look like a bit of a clown running in those. But hey, they are my Boston Marathon running shoes. And I feel really good. Yeah. So I did succumb to that, but I didn't succumb to any of the other gear. However, eventually I did succumb, I think, by the Wednesday, because I stayed in marathon in Boston a few days. But so I did have to go there. But there was a tip where you mentioned where normally, because I know you ran New York as well, and this place where you can get discounts. What was the story about discounts with Boston gear?
Frankly, there are no discounts. It's not like when you're at the New York Marathon. New York Marathon, there's a chain of shops called City Sports. and they have a 50% off the day after the race. So the lovely jacket, the vest, the shorts. If you don't want to buy at the expo, fine. Go to City Sports, you can get it. And if you're going to the same mentality to Boston with that, you're going to get nothing. Marathon Sports, the Adidas run-based store give you 0 discount the day after the race. They will not give you any discount. So my tip is, when you go to the expo, if you see something you like and you've got the funds, purchase it there and then, because you will not get it anywhere else.
I have to say, I totally agree. I mean, I went to on Boston Street, and there was a couple of sports store there, and on the Tuesday, or it might be in the Wednesday, I can't remember the exact day, it might have been a Wednesday, so I thought I'll give it a couple of days. I looked in one of the sports stores, and there was lots of these celebration jackets all out on display, but all at full price. Went back a couple of hours later, and there was none left. They'd all gone. And so, yeah, they were all selling out, so there was no need for it to go on discount. So I then headed further up the street to the Adidas store and managed to purchase one eventually. So I got that. But yeah, so no discounts. But no, moving on to the race itself. It's funny you mentioned people wearing those tops and bad luck and all that type of stuff. Do you think all those people wearing those celebrations, what was the bad luck on race day? I mean, it was, depending on what you read and where it was, but I was watching the channel, whatever it was, of the official marathon in the morning with the weather, and it was just terrifying me seeing those people up at Hopkinton and being blown by the gale winds and snow up there, wind, rain, and I thought, what in heaven's name am I going to do in this race? I've never run in any of those conditions. So the race, but obviously you were in the wave ahead of me, so you started half an hour before me.
Yes.
What were your thoughts? What was going through your mind when, in terms of getting up in that morning, or the night before, getting up in the morning, and then you're at the corral waiting, or in the tent waiting, and at the corral, and then the start. So what's your recollections of the actual race day itself?
Well, I had a very good warm up, because I went to the pasta dinner the night before the race.
Oh yes.
So the mayor of Boston had opened up the city hall for all the runners, and traditionally when the weather is good, there is seating both outdoors and indoors. But due to the adverse weather conditions the day before, there was a very long queue outside in the rain. So I was standing for 45 to 50 minutes to get into the city hall to get my free pasta.
So that was
not the best idea before race. No, so
that was kind of
a warm up.
So that was your warm up. And sorry, there's a lot of people coming online here. You keep talking. Let me look at the names. I'll give them a shout out. And because there's a lot of people on here, I can see that there's John Hernshaw. Great to see you there, John. And Mark Caldicott, excellent, Mark. Taz is on from the Taz Run Birmingham. Don't worry, Taz. I've got the I left the shirt out on the hanger. It's still a bit wet, but anyway. And then Andy, Forester Dean Runner. Yes, hello, Andy. So obviously, if you've got any questions for Sunil, or as we're going through, throw those questions in, and I'll try and read them. But sorry, Sunil, continue, please.
No. But to be fair, there was 4 different types of pasta available, and there was unlimited beer.
Really?
There was beer. There was beer for the pasta party, and it was all included within your ticket.
Beer on the night before a marathon. Yeah, is that good? What do our viewers think?
As a medical doctor, I refrained. So
well, okay. So was it more? Obviously, people knew what the weather would be like. Was it a case of getting into a clear state that you didn't really care what the weather was like?
No, maybe. To be fair, all of us were looking at BBC weather in the build-up to the race. We saw it was torrential rain being planned, be predicted. But the bus drive to Hopkinton I was not prepared for that. The bus driver could not even see the road properly. There was that much rain. Honestly, the bus was skidding all over the place. It was horrendous. This was rain of a biblical proportion. Your listeners, unless they were there, can't really fathom how bad this weather was. And when you then get to Hopkinton School, obviously you're all bursting for a lavatory. So there was plenty of portaloos, not a problem. The only thing was they were at the other end of a school field, which had been turned into a swamp. So your lovely racing shoes and socks, if you're wearing lovely Saucony Dunkin' Donuts edition shoes, did not resemble that after your lavatory break.
There were a few people wearing those, wasn't there?
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
my feet were frozen straight away. There were some very experienced, particularly Japanese athletes I saw who had come with Wellington boots or had carrier bags wrapped around their trainers. These
Yep.
people, or wearing old trainers, people in the know came properly prepared. I wasn't in that party, unfortunately, but there were some properly prepared runners. People brought in the sheets from tenting and wrapped themselves up with that before the race because there was shelter there in the form of tents. But again, it was on top of a muddy swamp. So
Yeah.
you may be sheltered from the rain from your head, your feet and your legs weren't. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
It was. I mean, fortunately for me, I did bump into at the expo a guy who'd done a number of marathons, and I put it on the vlog regarding the expo, and he explained to me about putting things onto your feet. Obviously, I didn't have any Wellington boots or whatever, and then any old trainers. I had no old trainers. I only had my running trainers. So yeah, I was really unprepared for that. But maybe I might do a separate vlog in terms of prepping for Boston and other marathons where, you know, it is going on a long expedition. But yeah, that bus journey. So you get off the bus, you're in the queue, and
there was another tip which your listeners should be aware of. There are families in Hopkinton which, for a small charge, would allow you to come and just chill in their house before the race.
Really?
If you go to Runner's World and put in Hopkinton VIP Boston Marathon packages, there are families who are prepared to put you up. And for your listeners who do get into Boston, I would seriously consider investing in that. It's a very small charge, but you've got access to a lavatory, shelter, coffee, bagels, etc. Please consider it, because if I'd known about that, I would have taken that without a doubt.
Wow, that explains a lot of things. Yeah, that is a real top tip. So we'll have to do a list of that, Sonny. I can see that coming. So your feet are all muddy, you're cold, you're freezing. For those who watch my vlog, whilst I had the bags covering my trainers, I was still cold and freezing and went into the Portaloo to try and warm up a bit. So you've now getting into the corrals, and I must say the organisation at Boston was impeccable. I don't know what it was like with your red wave, but I was in the white wave just behind you, and we were moved through really professionally. There was no real queuing. We knew exactly which corral we had to go to. They're all clearly signposted. And when I arrived in there, I was surrounded with everybody who all qualified around the same time. So when we started, we all went out together and we sort of stayed together. There was a few people slightly going quicker or slower. And as the race progressed, obviously people were swapping and changing. But for the first, I would say 10K, we were all as one group. Was it the same for you in your wave?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing about the Boston Marathon is that there are no actual official race paces, because by the very virtue of qualifying and based on your time being in the right wave and corral, you're with runners of an equivalent level. So there is no need for paces. You just follow the girl or the guy next to you, and that person should technically be the same sort of time as you. But I was in, I think, wave 1, corral 4, and we got moving very quickly. And the thing about the Boston Marathon first 10K is control yourself. It's a big decline straight away. And if you go with emotion and go too hard on that stretch, you're going to trash your quads. And once you get to Newton Hills, you'll be found out. So please, the first 10K, take it easy. I didn't. I went off doing 2020s per 5K for the first 2 splits. I went off too hard.
What?
I
Is that because you were cold?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the week after the London Marathon with the heat, and, you know, people have asked me, what is worse, the heat or the cold? Well, at least for the heat, you're getting a bit of a suntan, vitamin D, you're enjoying life. With the cold, I'm sorry, you just want to get to the finish and get home. So, I pick heat over cold any day.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you say it was a steep decline. Yeah, it was the first 6 miles. The first 10K is a massive drop. So, and obviously the water, it was bucketing down with rain. There's lashings of water coming down, and yeah, it was quite something. I vividly remember there was one I ran over some water, and it was so cold, my feet were already numb, and I couldn't move them. And I thought, wow, this is quite something. But yeah, so did you feel that weather was making you want to go quicker, or did you was it just survival mode then? Or what was
But no, well,
obviously
no, actually, no.
in
I mean, no.
2020 that's going at super fast.
Yeah, I mean, the first half I covered in 1:28. I did not stop for a kiss from any of the Wellesley girls. I
I
debated
did.
this before the
I
race.
kissed them all.
Yeah, you like that Katy Perry song, "I Kissed a Girl."
Well,
That's you.
I kissed the girl and I like it.
No, I was in the moment. I was flowing. I was banging off 640, 645 miles, and it felt comfortable.
So you were
I felt
flying.
ready
You were
for this.
flying.
Yes, yes, I was flying. But the mistake I made was in my eagerness to get into my wave and corral into a good position, I forewent my lavatory break, did not use the lavatory. And at the 15-mile mark, I needed to use a portaloo. And as you know, if you're doing that sort of pace, you have to stop and go for a wee. That's it. The legs have gone at that stage. You cannot get back into that same pace. And in that cold as well, once I hit the Newton Hills, then the tops of my thighs went dead. And I felt this could be the first time I did not finish a race. And my whole mindset had to change. That sub-3 in Boston had to go. It was about getting back to my family and my loved ones in one piece. And also, we get so caught up with personal best, Strava segments again. But sometimes you should just run in the moment and enjoy it. We are doing something which very few of the population are ever going to do. We qualified for Boston and we're running on these hallowed streets. We're part of a legacy. And when you think like that, let's go out and enjoy it. Let's high five a few people. I wish I could have gone back to Wellesley and done a kiss or two now,
Just watch my vlog and sort of think that you were the one.
So, people going about the Newton Hills, especially Heartbreak Hill at mile 20, 21. But, you're from the Midlands. The hills you will encounter in training surpass anything you do in Heartbreak Hill. It's just due to the very placing of it at mile 20. That's the only problem. It's not that big a deal. But when your legs are dying, you've got people pulling off to the medics with cramp and hypothermia. It is a big challenge, but please don't be put off by Heartbreak Hill. If you train properly, you can conquer it. And
I was gonna say, Sunil, you bang on there. I mean, that's why I thought when I filmed at mile 16, I said, I'll see you after Heartbreak. When I was on Heartbreak Hill, I got my GoPro out again. I thought, well, it's a hill, yes, and that's what I said.
Yeah.
But it's because of the position. But any marathon at that distance is tough, period.
Yeah.
Put in a hill,
absolutely,
it's going to be super tough, but it's not insurmountable. And obviously, when you see that sign, you're now over Heartbreak Hill. It is downhill, more or less. There is still a few more hills because Boston is just like that. There are no flat parts, are there? It is my understanding. Correct me if I'm still. It is the toughest road of all the majors. I'm sure there's other tough marathons out there. But of the 6 majors, it is the toughest of all 6. Is that right?
Well, I've done 4 out of the 6 now, and from a course point of view, yes, it has been the toughest without a doubt. But then I've never faced weather conditions like that as well. So that just compounded the problem.
I was going to say, you throw in. I mean, it's not bad running in the cold if it's just cold. It's not bad running in 40-mile-an-hour headwinds if you've just got 40-mile headwinds. Yeah. It's not bad running in torrential downpours of rain that just doesn't stop. And it's not bad, as I say, running in sort of like -5 wind chill factor. But when you put all that together and you throw in the hills and you throw in a bit more whatever, it was just insane. And I don't think my vlog, there are others that I've seen out on YouTube, and I might dig some out that showed there were spectators out there, and it looked worse than us running in it. But it's just one of those things. But as you've quite rightly said, I look at my medal here, and it says the 122nd marathon. It is the oldest marathon in the world, and as you said, I mean, for me, it was slightly different because I knew I had London in 6 days, so I knew for me, and I hadn't fully recovered from injury, and I still had a bit of flu. For me, it was immediately survival mode. Before I even started, it was just a case of survival mode, just getting to the finish in one piece. My understanding, I think 5% of those who started, which was around 1,600, nearly 2,000 people, did not finish, which is quite frightening. All the medi tents every mile were full. The medi tents at the finish were packed out. I mean, I was going hypothermic at the finish and just needed some help and assistance and quickly got back to my hotel. But how did you feel then when you turn in? There's that talk where you go, people talk about, as you say, it's a marathon you can't really explain. A lot of people have done it for many years and they qualify. And someone said it's a bit like the Grand National of running. It's the top thing, like getting into the Olympics. If you get into Boston Marathon, for those of us, Joe Public who have day jobs, qualifying for the Boston Marathon and running Boston Marathon is a privilege and an honor. And as you say, there's not many people who get to run a marathon in the first place, but to run Boston Marathon is something really special. But they talk about turning right on Hereford Street and then left on Boston Street. How did you feel when you were coming round that bend?
All the pain, all the cold, all the suffering, all the aching, it just disappeared when you saw that sign for Hereford Street. It's next to my wife and my children. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, is that road sign. Everything just disappears. It just becomes magical. And to be fair, Hereford Street was still a bit of an incline. It's a wee incline from Hereford up to Boston. And then you turn left onto Boston and you can see all the shops.
Those pesky hills, eh?
Oh, but that stretch from Boston, it's just amazing. We're following the steps of runners like Bill Rogers, multi-marathon runner winner, Greta Waits. We're following their footsteps on that hallowed piece of tarmac, and it was just a wonderful experience. I managed to find a 7 minute per mile segment on that stretch there. So it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. The hardest thing was then stopping and your body temperature just all of a sudden crashing down. I mean, yourself and me, we were booked in the same hotel, which was pretty close to the finish. And if any of your followers do happen to go to the same hotel, the Revere Hotel, I would not leave your bags in the baggage tent, because I finished the same time as many other guys in the same wave and corral system. And I had to wait half an hour to get my bag because the queue was that long. And when your temperature is shutting down, you're shivering, hypothermia, you're getting delirious, it's not the right place to be. So if you are in a hotel nearby, or if family and friends are nearby, you know what, forego the baggage, just get out there and get warmed up. That's my tip.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I found I was queuing here and I was going hypothermic in the queue, and thankfully a couple of guys, because runners and old people are very, very sensitive and pick up. And obviously I was beginning to shake really badly, and they sort of grabbed hold of me, gave me some drinks, and I just pushed to the front very cheekily and got my bag and scarpered back to the hotel. Nobody was objecting because obviously they could see the condition I was in. So I just, I don't think I was ill enough to go in a medi tent. I mean, because they're already full. So I just wanted to get straight back to the hotel. But again, I think there's a vlog coming up and all sorts of hints and tips. But the way you just described that feeling of Hereford Street and Boston Street, I think that is probably the magic of Boston, and the magic of many marathon majors. I know people talk about the Londons and the New Yorks and the Chicagos and Tokyos and Berlins. Everybody has their special moments, but it's not just about the marathon majors. There's other marathons as well where people have those special feelings. And I think that it's almost like, excuse me, as I burp, I think it's that thing about the last mile, because it's a long way, isn't it? 26.2 miles, and running at a pace that you guys are running at is quite incredible. But so you got home, got to the hotel.
Yes.
And yes, the rain had stopped then once you get in the hotel. Yeah, the rain had gone away. Hey!
No, it was still raining because I know. You had the post-race party at the Boston Red Sox ground, Fenway Park, a major sporting landmark. But when I saw that torrential rain still chucking down, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go to any park there.
Yeah. So what did we do? I got a message from you, so we thought, oh, let's meet up at the bar. And
we did, and Samuel Adams, the local brewery, had a special edition a drink, the 26.2, which went down very nicely in the special commemorative glass, which you get to keep if you order 26.2.
I was just showing the viewers the glass that I've got here, and Samuel Adams, 26.2 brew. I'm not a beer drinker, but I drank some of this stuff, and it was really good. What did you think of it? So, did you like the beer?
Yeah.
I think you had more than one, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd gone 3 months without any alcohol for the race, so my alcohol threshold is very low at that stage, but
You
it
you
went down very smoothly.
you
Very
made
nice.
you made up for it. So I think from what you're saying, and obviously what I'm saying is Boston Marathon on the list on
Yes.
your on anyone who's taking marathon running seriously to as a one to do. Obviously, you need to qualify.
Absolutely. I mean, I have seen, I've met many runners since I've ran Boston, and when they found out I've done the cold one, that's their first comment. They want to shake my hand and say, "We saw those conditions on the internet. We've read about them, and you went there and you've got your medal." So I wouldn't change a thing for the world. I feel honoured to have run it under those conditions because it was a special one.
I I have to say, so I totally agree with you. And there's
Mm,
something I found when I went to breakfast at the hotel. I had my medal on because obviously you got to wear the
mm,
medal, and I almost got a stand. There was because the hotel there was business people there. It's it's a lot of people had checked out on the Monday itself and gone, but
mm,
I'd come down and there was people getting up and almost giving me a standing ovation
mm.
in the breakfast area and coming up and shaking my hand. Congratulations! Wow, how? And I'm thinking it then starts to sink in. It's only now sort of beginning to sink in. This medal, this
Mm.
122nd one, the worst weather in 30 years, 100 years, whatever. It was brutal, and in a way, that's what makes it even more special. Obviously, if we're going to do it again, I don't want the same weather, please. Please don't want the same weather. Although the year before it was hot, I think it was
Yes.
around 28 Celsius. I don't know what that is in
Mm.
Fahrenheit, but super hot. But we can't control the weather. But it was it was great, wasn't it? Yeah. So are you down for
Yes,
next
it was.
year?
Well, my 2:58 in Cologne technically is a Boston qualifying time
Yeah.
for
So you're gonna go for
2019.
it?
So
Come on, you're gonna
I
go
could,
for it.
well,
You
I've
can
got my
sell
name
your
in the
kids.
ballot for
I'm
London.
selling my kids.
Yeah.
I might go next one.
No, I've got my name in the ballot for London. So and my 2:58 is a good for age time, although they have changed that into a ballot system as well now for
Yeah,
the good for
yeah.
age for London. But let me see how I get next few months. But it is a possibility I could apply for 2019.
I was going to say if you get into London next year,
Mm.
I think there's a 2 week gap this time, so you get that extra week recovery. So, but no, it's pretty tough doing the two marathons, especially marathon majors, and racing them in that shorter period. So that would be quite something. But in terms of summing up, Sunil, and it's been an
Mm.
absolute pleasure having you on the show. What's next for you? Have you got any major races coming up? You've been resting now, I would guess, like a lot of people.
Mm.
When does your training start? Have you got a next race coming up
Yeah.
in,
No,
I think, autumn?
correct. Yep. No, I've had I took a whole week off, no running immediately after the race. I resumed light running. I did a 10K race Sunday week,
So you're already
and
back into the running, yeah?
back into the running. Yep, yep. But I did a good 12-mile trail run this morning, and the next big race is the Frankfurt Marathon in October, which is 6 months.
Hey!
Yeah, which you have happy memories of. So
Frankfurt! Oh, yes. I thought that was one of the, obviously, it's the
mm,
only race I've done in Germany, and it was impeccably organised. Brilliant
yes,
course. Similar to Cologne. You mentioned Cologne was flat.
yes.
Frankfurt.
Cologne, absolutely flat course, well organised, a one-lap route. And if anybody is looking to run that Boston qualifying time, they want that flat course Cologne. I would thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah,
Well
yeah.
organised race.
I did see on various vlogs there was a lot of qualifiers from the Cologne and Frankfurt marathons at Boston. So
Mm,
yeah, it's a great course. And I gather obviously Rich Bays 187 will be there as
mm.
well, who's another YouTuber. He's signed
Oh,
up for
good.
Frankfurt, and so yeah, Frankfurt is your next A race. I'm sure you'll be absolutely brilliant. You've got what 3, 5, 6 months to train for that. Is it the end of October, from what I
Absolutely.
recall? Yeah.
Yes. And
So
all my running crew are going to the same race as well. So
are they?
it's going to
Oh,
be a good
okay,
one.
okay.
Yes, they are.
So you'll have to be chasing all them then, yeah? You'll be
Oh,
chasing
no.
the 220.
No, he's in the elite start, so I'll be with Joe Public in the wave behind, but I will give it a go.
Okay, okay, that sounds brilliant. So, Sunil, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. To
Thank
everyone
you.
who's been watching, listening, and on here, I know there's been lots of people commenting leaving posts, and I see that Andy's left interesting points here. I'm just reading out what Andy, Forester Dean runner, said. Interesting points. You don't hear about this stuff, just get told about the race. So it sounds like we probably need to put together a list of the extra bits that Andy mentions, which you've talked about, Sunil. So I think we'll probably do that another time. But thank you so much for taking the time coming on the show, Sunil. It's an absolute pleasure. And you're an amazing guy. And when I first met you at Reading, I knew that obviously I caught you with the New York Marathon finisher's vest on. That's what brought me to you, because obviously I was doing New York that day. And it's great meeting people like you who are genuine, hardworking. You train hard, and you get the rewards. And a lot of people think there's sort of like a magic formula, and there is no magic formula, is there?
No, not at all.
No. So thank you so much. You can wave your medal again, like I am here. Yeah, give it. Oh, hang on. Yeah, wave it now. Yeah. So well done, Sunil. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. And if you are watching non-live, because I think this will be going out and recorded on the old YouTubes. So I just want to say a big thank you. And if you are new here, if you have enjoyed this in some way, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because it's the only way that I know that you are liking this type of content. And if there are people who do watch this live, I might do a few more live. But the challenges I get is the time, finding people at that time that I can come on and do this, and where I've got various interwebs connections. And but as I say, Sunil, thank you so much. I do love the headband, Run 26.2 Boston, and the headphones. So thank you all so much. We'll give a sort of customary wave. I don't know whether we'll do that, and maybe I might put some music on. Do you want to give us a wave, Sunil? Can you wave? Can you hear me? Hello. Yes. Okay. Hey. So what was I playing at the beginning? Oh. Okay. Thank you so much. Maybe we might incorporate more dancing. And I was very impressed that you took the time to find some white framed sunglasses to start off. Maybe you've started a trend here that every guest that comes on has to wear white framed sunglasses. I don't know about growing a beard. Have you grown a beard yet, Sunil? No, you haven't got a beard. Come on, speed it up. And that applies to the ladies as well. So, no, thank you all so much. We could do some quick fire questions, but no. I think we've been talking quite a while, haven't we? This is like 50 odd minutes. I don't know. This will take like 10 years to upload on YouTube, I think. But thank you, Sunil, for being a great guest and sharing your experiences of Boston Marathon. It is quite something, hearing from other people's perspectives, and I'm sure the viewers have really enjoyed hearing from yourself. Sub-3 marathon man, Boston qualifier, an absolute hero, and obviously one of the NHS heroes as well. So thank you so much. And all I can say to everybody is thank you for watching, and a goodbye. So it's waving from me, and I think waving from Sunil. Is he waving? Yeah. Thank you all so much. And till next time, ta-ra a bit. Bye-bye.